Relationships is what gives us juice for our lives. So look for those opportunities to develop those relationships across cultures. And I think we'll have a greater understanding of the world and how we can make it a better place.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Skip Weisman. Previously, episode 657 of the 12-Minute Convo podcast. It's been just 2 years, 11 months, 15 days, 23 hours, and 15 minutes since we last recorded that conversation.
There is no success, failure, frustration, upset, anything good or bad that happens in your life that is not directly related to communication in some way or another. And so I encourage people to not take communication for granted and to really be more conscious when we communicate with ourselves and others. I think that's an important message for people to understand.
That was then. This is now. Skip, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm looking forward to our conversation here.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years, my friend. Yeah. Tell us, what's the update? The last time we spoke, well, Iman connected us, one, and secondly, Iman Agai, and secondly, speaking was a big thing,
yep.
Right? So what's the update? Please give us.
Yeah, well, speaking is still a big thing. I just got back from Chicago last week where I spoke at a conference of electronic manufacturers, did the closing keynote there, and I've already booked 5 speaking gigs for 2020, and wow. I'm trying to be creative and creating new content and new keynotes and speeches and workshops. So that's still a major part of my life and my business. And now I'm looking to bring some new content for 2020 to help businesses get even better.
Now, have people reached out to you to learn how to get speaking gigs the way you do it?
Some, yeah. Actually, I had a conversation with a woman last week who actually attended a rehearsal that I did because I wanted to make sure I nailed this keynote. And she was actually brought by another friend and colleague, and we had a conversation afterwards because she was interested in what I was doing and how I was doing it, and she was very impressed with the fact that I actually put myself out there for feedback after creating a program that was a long time coming. I put months of work into it, and she was so impressed I actually put it out there for criticism. And she said, "How do you do this?" And she wanted my help.
Yeah. Well, dig into the communication concept because you have written a book, right? And I think this is the core of what the business is built on from the perspective of you're applying it in your business and it's working, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks. That's one thing I forgot to mention that you just brought up. Yeah, in 2018, I published my first book. That's probably the newest thing, and it's the foundation of the work I do to talk about interpersonal communication and how we can make connections with people. And at the end of the day, it's really all about communication, just like we're doing today.
Sure. I love the name as well, right? 7 deadliest communication sins, right? No, you didn't get that by just waking up in the morning and thinking about it. I'm guessing it's something you would have seen from being in I don't want to say the gutter, but, just being on the grassroots, right? Like doing the work, rubbing shoulders with the people. I'm guessing that's how this book was birthed. Is that accurate?
Yes, it was really 10 years of my work with clients and being intimately involved in the work environments and how people are interacting and engaging. And I just sort of built that list of common communication mistakes that I saw. And yeah, it was 10 years in writing the book of client work and, just observing and coaching people through their communication challenges. And I just started to list them and then figure out these are the 7 biggest things I'm dealing with all the time with my clients and that people need to know about them.
The importance of building relationship, something we tied in as well. Well, first of all, before I forget, so is that something you're making available for people? How you can get booked, how you can be an effective speaker? Is that something that you've made available?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So where can people find out more about that?
7deadliestcommunicationsins.com, and the 7 can be either the numeral or the word spelled out to make it simple for people.
Wonderful. Well, I'm speaking specifically, we started and we talked about people reaching out to find out how they can get speaking gigs to you. Mm-hmm. And you said, that young lady, she reached out. So is that something you have as well? Is that like a course or something you do?
Actually, it's not something official that I do. I do it when people see me and, I guess hopefully are impressed by what I've been able to do.
Okay.
And so they'll just ask me for some insights. I do coaching around presentation skills. So if you want help, refining your message or, how you can present yourself better on stages, and develop your content and your program. I'll do coaching on presentation skills and content development, but I don't necessarily coach them on how to get speaking gigs because that's a whole different business model that I'm still figuring out for myself, and I'm not sure I want to
get into
teach others how to do it.
Understood. And you can find Skip at yourchampionshipcompany.com as well, yeah?
Yes, that's my primary website for both my speaking and consulting.
Wonderful. All right, yeah, so let's dig into the building relationship part, man. I mean, like, how has that evolved for you?
It is continuing. It's something I invest a lot of time and energy in. And I was looking at some of the questions that you put forth for our conversation. I kept going back to the thing I've been consistently doing over time since we last met was I'm still doing a lot of networking, a lot of outreach to building and creating relationships and bringing people together and always looking to meet new people, which I think is how we got connected.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it marvels me because the technology is one that, with things like automation within email marketing, there are the advantages with it. However, there's something that is becoming even more valued through these one-to-one conversations in a time where automation is increasing. Are you seeing it as well from the groundwork you're doing?
Yes, I'm trying to stay away from automation because I think it's not authentic. And so when I look to make connections, especially in the virtual world through a LinkedIn or a Facebook or something like that, I try to do it directly. I don't like necessarily to do the automation thing. And so I think we've lost that personal touch and things are not as authentic as they could be. So yeah, I always try to make it personal and authentic and not necessarily automated. And I do it online, but I also do it in person. The one thing I've consistently done over the last 3 years is every Wednesday morning I am in a networking group, and from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, I'm at that meeting and building the relationships, either in a group, the full meeting, but also doing one-on-one meetings afterwards.
There's something you said when you were giving us the example in that conversation of, I think it was the second person that impacted your career, and he told you, we don't have a job available, but you can call me collect, right?
Yes.
And you spoke about calling me on his dime, right? So you were calling him on his dime.
Yes.
Is that something that you've seen is integral for exponential success for individuals, allowing people to access them on their money?
I have not experienced that much since then. I think it's something that we should do sort of as a pay it forward thing. From my perspective, I don't remember exactly what we talked about with that, but whenever somebody who is looking for my expertise in a certain area and they're an up and coming individual, they're in high school or college or trying to make their way as a young person today, it's something I absolutely offer them. It's a little bit easier today because you don't have to pay for phone calls anymore like you used to. But I think, more than anything, more than the dime from a financial money perspective, I think it's time, right? And we only have so much time. And so I really look at it from that perspective. And I'm willing to pay it forward from a time perspective because this individual 40 years ago did it for me. And I just think that we have to pay things forward like that. I'm always happy to do it.
Now, you wear 2 rings, right? You wear a ring that's branded SW, Skip Weisman, I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
And then there's another ring which indicates marriage. How's that going? How has what you've been doing impacted your marriage and your wife?
That's a great question. It's gone very well. We've been married now 16 years, and my wife's I'd like to say my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. She was in that rehearsal that I did last week for my keynote speech. She did twice. I did it 1 week, and then came back a week later after I tweaked the keynote based on the feedback I received, and she was in both sessions. And I trust her input. I trust her feedback because she has my best interest in mind. And after we did the rehearsals, we went back home and we debriefed the situation. She gave me some great ideas for making it even better. And it was great to have her in the audience because sometimes I'm a little apprehensive to have her there just because of the relationship, but she's great. And I've never been happier. We're still in love after 16 years.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations on that. Diligence, the importance of diligence, to be diligent with your day. Truly the conversation of the possibility of death, something that we can encounter, something that means that we could be here today and gone like next second, right?
Yes.
How are you interacting with that conversation and applying diligence through that truth?
That's a really great question because I think there's always that balance, right? We're trying to plan for the future and, money away for the future, for the retirement. And hopefully we're going to be there when the time comes for it. But we also want to live in the moment and enjoy our time. And we're having some existential conversations about that now because my wife is 2 years from retiring from her job, and we're trying to figure out what our future is. We're trying to enjoy the moment and do things that we really enjoy and not do things that we don't enjoy. I think the biggest thing from that perspective that we've really talked about is simplifying our life, not getting caught up in doing stuff we don't want to do. And there's some things we have to do from a family perspective because we have some family members that are having some, getting up there in age and everything. And so we're making much more conscious decisions about how we invest our time. I think it's the best way to do that and just really do stuff that's important to you and learn to say no to things that aren't.
Seems as though you are continuously skipping to the Weisman, right?
We're trying. That's a cute way to look at it.
It's really inspirational and motivational to have the opportunity. First of all, I'm thankful for it, but get the opportunity to share in a conversation and share this with everyone that's listening, to hear that it is possible if you never give up to grow and to evolve in your business and impact lives, help others, pursue excellence as you are. So I really appreciate this opportunity. I really appreciate this time with you. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
The thing I would just say is that, one, it's about relationships. I think the relationships is what gives us juice for our lives, because everybody is so unique and so different. It's been great meeting you, the couple of conversations we've had, and the fact that we have this great technology that allows us to do this. I have a great friend who lives in Hong Kong. I have a friend in Hamburg, Germany. I'm in New York. You're in the Caribbean. It's just really great. So look for those opportunities to develop those relationships across cultures. And I think we'll have a greater understanding of the world and how we can make it a better place by understanding people in different cultures. And I'm really passionate about that.
I love it. Again, amazing audience. Skip Weisman. Skip, again, a pleasure. I treasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.